Hello.
Hi, Julie. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Who was that? Was that? Hi, Shelby.
Hey. Noah's there.
No.
Nice to see everyone. Thanks for coming to our meeting. I'm Julie Bernard, Manager of Production Services at Creative BC's Film Commission and Real Green Partnerships.
Thanks, Julie. Shelby, you want to go over to you?
Hi, everybody. My name is Shelby Stadnick, and I'm the Real Green Coordinator.
Then who wants to go next? I think I saw Peter in here. Oh, David unmuted himself. David, beat him. Go ahead.
Hey,
which David? Sorry.
Sorry, I thought you said Peter. Go ahead, David.
I just unmuted myself, so it would be that dude that started talking with his mute on.
Oh, go ahead.
But I'm David Hardy. I'm Vice President of Sustainability and Stakeholder Affairs at William F. White, based in Toronto, but all over the place wherever we are operating. So spend lots of time in BC.
David, and then Peter, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Smiley. My name is Peter Clausen. I am the new Manager of Industry and Community Affairs at Creative BC.
Yeah, I just realized, so this is Peter's first Real Green General meeting. So everyone can wish him a quick warm hello to the team. And he's also the chair of the Clean Energy Committee, which we'll be hearing from today. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next? Maybe Chris?
Hey, nice to meet all of you. My name is Chris. I am a documentary filmmaker focused on environmental storytelling based in Vancouver, BC. And this is my first Real Green General meeting. So it's great to be here. Thank you for having me, Smiley.
Of course, thanks for coming. And we'll be hearing from Chris too. Jessica.
Good morning. I'm Jessica from Australia. I'm actually with a company, Koya, who's introducing renewable power sources to the Australian film and television industry. And I came to a meeting last year and I found it really insightful and helpful because, of course, it's great to collaborate on these things. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Annabelle?
Hi, my name is Annabelle Wilkser. This is my first Real Green meeting, but I work for the Directors Guild of Canada. I'm one of the assistant business agents, and our rep to Real Green used to be Karen Gabriel, but I'm taking over for her in this department. And so yeah, excited to learn more. We represent a lot of film people, locations, assistant directors, production managers on film sets. We're a union.
Thanks, Annabelle. Yeah, DGC's been a long time partner and supporter of Real Green. So we're happy to have you here. And David, you wanted to add something?
I just want to ask Annabelle if she was the third AD on Traders.
I was, yeah.
I was the assistant production coordinator.
Oh my goodness, good memory. Wow. Yeah. That's
nice.
Amazing.
Small world. Brandon, how about pass it to you?
Hello, I'm Brad Lapine. I work for the North Vancouver Island Film Commission. This is my first Real Green meeting. I came out of the Vancouver film industry and yeah, looking forward to the stuff we're going to discuss.
Great, thanks. Alex, our lovely friends at Scriptation.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the marketing director at Scriptation. You might know Steve Vitolo, who's our CEO. He's usually at these meetings, but I'm subbing in for today. I think I've been to a couple of Real Green things, but I think it's my first general meeting.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw you on a call before, but happy to have you. Welcome.
I'm on the ENZA calls too, so.
I see. Yeah, a lot of initiatives. Who's next? Vivek?
Hi, everyone. I'm the program coordinator for film and special events at the City of Vancouver. And this is my first Real Green meeting.
Yay, we got a lot of first timers. I'm happy to hear that. I'll go to Michael, then Vanessa, then Johnny.
Hi there, Mike Karen from Holly North Production Supplies. We supply the industry for almost 25 years now with real green products like cleaners and artificial snow, that sort of thing. We're happy to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa. I'm a studio coordinator at NBS in Vancouver. It's also my first general meeting, but I think I have participated in Real Green.
Vanessa, you cut out a bit, but did you say MBS?
Yes, MBS.
Awesome, and thank you. Thank you for joining. Johnny? There? Okay, I'll say Noah, last but not least, I think, if I didn't miss anyone.
Hey everyone, my name is Noah. I'm a sustainability coordinator working in the Vancouver film industry, and I've been working primarily with Earth Angels, Sustainable Consulting, or Disney Plus Productions since about January of this year.
Nice, and yeah, and we're gonna hear from Noah later in this call too, and I got my PowerPoint working, so yay. And I think we're expecting a few more people, but Shelby's gonna follow up to see, because we have a few presentations actually lined up for today. Oh look, see, someone just joined. I don't know who this may be. Oh, Melanie. Hi, Melanie, welcome.
Hello.
We were just doing introductions, if you wanted to quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Melanie Windle. I'm the executive producer of SPF.
Awesome. Thanks for joining. Okay, so yeah, we'll just get right into it now that my PowerPoint's working. So yeah, welcome to everybody who's here for the first time. We try to do these general meetings quarterly, just to keep the community of Real Green and the industry up to date with what is happening, Real Green, but also just in our industry, BC, Canada, any partnerships, events. And we also want to hear from you, your stories, success stories, initiatives that you've been up to for sustainable production. So this is a chance to like meet one another, connect, and share. So I did my land acknowledgement, and then this is the agenda. Like I said, it's pretty loaded. We have a few presentations. We're going to hear some updates from a few committees at Real Green, such as Clean Energy, Circular Economy National Committee. We have some events that have happened, so a little recap, a highlight on those, and then upcoming events, including SPF and BIF, and then more guest speakers, and then just an open floor for discussion, and it's like an open mic, share what you like. And yeah, if you have questions, I won't be able to see everyone now that I'm sharing my screen, just raise your hand, or you could just talk and then I'll know. So I'm going to start with a little overview of what Real Green is. And to my friends who have attended every single Real Green meeting, you would probably know this inside and out by now, but for my new friends, Real Green is an initiative that sits in the Provincial Film Commission at Creative BC, and we are funded by all these incredible partners, and they invest into the program and sit on our advisory board. So a few of them are on this call, like David Hardy is one of our partners, and we have several more. They tend to attend these general meetings, but I know it's just this busy time in the year too. So these make up of studios, equipment suppliers, labor organizations, vendors, production companies, you name it. And we have 23 partners as of now. And we're still, working and collaborating to get more partners because we're in this together. So thank you to these people who are the reason we are here and making all this progress. Real Green focuses on 3 main strategic goals. Every initiative we have and project falls under one of these goals and pillars. So the first is industry transformation. It's really about shifting behavior and normalizing these practices and sustainable operations and looking at growth and how to start getting, data to measure and create those impact reports. And the second is zero greenhouse gas emissions. So really looking at clean energy infrastructure, reducing our fuel consumption. And this is where largely our clean energy committee is doing a lot of work in. And then circular economy. So we're looking at this year, really focusing on how can we prioritize the circular model in the industry by working with those on the ground, as well as our stakeholders and vendors that deal with materials and, prioritizing reuse over consumption. So we just launched the circular economy committee this year, and we have a little bit to share on that. What does Real Green do? So we have committees that are either Real Green chaired or we are part of in the industry. We have toolkits available on the website. We work with productions. We have courses and trainings. We're developing one on climate storytelling. So it's going to be on screen development, but currently we have available carbon calculator training and the sustainable production training. It's free for anyone in the industry to take, and it takes place online once a month. We have not just our provincial investing partners that you just saw on the previous slide. We also have a national Real Green committee that's co-chaired by Julie Bernard, who's on this call, and Chris Den at Ontario Green Screen, with 30 partners sitting on that committee. So we're really expanding the work we're doing across the country now, which is actually, you'll see later in this presentation, we also are working internationally now to support. We work within the community to collaborate through events and sponsorships and festivals. And we also have an industry fundraiser. So we just did the second one this year, and over the 2 years, we raised over $203,000 towards Metro Vancouver regional parks. This year, 50% of the funding went towards Indigenous community projects and 50% of the funds went towards park restoration. And we're seeing a lot of reports already coming out, and we're seeing pictures, people are talking about it, they know we're leaving sort of a legacy in our parks and communities, which has been so fulfilling. And we're already planning next year's fundraiser. This is just some of the community collaborations, and this list is growing every day. We also are utilizing our website, our blog, and social media more than ever. So if you aren't already, follow us on Instagram, and we're hopefully launching a LinkedIn soon, but also we're regularly posting on our blog with updates and what's happening in the industry and within Real Green. So definitely something to check out. We're subscribing to the newsletter. And yeah, that's it for Real Green. Does anyone have any questions about what the program is for anyone that's newer to this call or initiative? You can ask, or you can ask later. Very quick, high level. If not, I'm gonna pass it over to my friend Melanie. Melanie, do you have any slides you want to share? Or do you want to lead this up, or let me know?
Thanks, Smiley. No slides, no slides.
Okay, so
I didn't have time. We're pretty close to the event, but I do have a verbal update if that works for everybody. Did you just want me to jump in and we can just have people? Oh, I see you have a nice slide for me. Thank you. That's our branding and our lead image. Thank you so much, Smiley.
Of course.
Okay. So let me just hop in with a little bit about what we're doing. This is not an introduction for many people who are already familiar with SPF and have been attending over the many years, but I'll just start from the beginning of what we're doing this year, which is that SPF 22 is a global hybrid conference focused on accelerating the decarbonization of content creation. So that's really our tag for this year. Our virtual release schedule is from October 1st to October 22nd. We also have 3 in-person receptions, the Vancouver kickoff event, which is October 1st, Our Toronto reception is October 6th, and then our New York City cocktail is October 11th. This year, we have 24 partners. We have 9 vendors participating, and 7 of those partners are brand new that have just signed on this year. And that includes folks like the PGA, BBC Studios, Cream Productions, and the IPF. So we're really excited to welcome some new folks into the fold. So without ticket sales, our most recent counted planted trees is more than 1,500. And of course, we add trees for all the that are sold, and we'll have a final tally after the event. So we're really happy about that. In terms of programming, SPF 22 programming is a mix of keynotes, firesides, and moderated panels, many of which are online because our goal is to make sure that the conversation stays global as well as accessible. So there are 18 overall programs, 3 of which are in person. That's at our in-person events, of course. And we also have a fairly robust program of meditations that will precede each day of programming. So there will be between 1 or 2 programs per day during our entire release period. And each one of those days will always be preceded by a mindfulness meditation moment, various different meditations, both reaching into our programming streams, as well as the bell practice and many other pieces around mindfulness and wellness. So this year, just a little bit of a highlight for our speakers. Francesca Ancinelli, who is the Interim Executive Director and CEO of Telefilm Canada, will be providing opening remarks at both the Toronto and Vancouver receptions, or we're still working out the last scheduling details, but hopefully it works out with her busy calendar for Toronto, but definitely in Vancouver. We just recorded a really fantastic conversation with Jennifer Bateswell it was just stunning. Really looking forward to being able to share that with everybody. Obviously, we'll be talking about her new film, Into the Weeds, but certainly a big part of the conversation is formed around her trilogy. Shannon Bart will be doing a very exciting case study. They have new stuff coming out right now, or not right now, not quite yet, shortly after we record that conversation. So we're really excited to have her and Lydia Pilcher leading that. It's called The Case for Clean Energy. Scott Z. Burns is going to join us for a fireside chat. Dorothy Fortenberry is going to join us for a moderated panel on climate storytelling. Jane Gilbert, who has an interesting role. She's the first she's the first in this role. She's the Chief Heat Officer for Miami-Dade County, and she'll be joining a couple of other medical professionals, which includes Melissa Lem, who is the president of the Canadian Association for Physicians of the Environment, as well as Naomi Oreskes, who's a professor at Harvard University. So those 3 really fascinating folks are going to be talking to us about the real health, the human health and health risk of not moving into clean energy. So we're really going to look at that human impact there. The Honorable Stephen Guilbeault, Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, will be joining us for virtual opening remarks, which will open all of our virtual programming. Sally Mills, who is the head of operations at BBC Studios, will be joining us for a fireside. Randy Richmond, SVP of production at NBC Universal, joined us for conversation on budgeting with a sustainability lens. David Suzuki will be appearing and saying a few words at the Vancouver event, and we're so happy to welcome him. Anne Leila Utsi, who's the managing director of the International Sami Film Institute, will be having a conversation with Jesse Wente and some other Indigenous creators about telling those stories on the land. So our PR team is hard at work, and we have some great coverage being confirmed. Our keynote speaker, Ellen Kelsey, was just interviewed this week by the National Observer, and she will also be doing a call-in show for BC Today. That's going to be next week, talking about sustainability. And one of our goals in PR is to really just bring forward this conversation about sustainability into the mainstream, bringing it out of the niche of just our industry, and really making sure that the impact is being felt. Both we understand the economy, the outsized impact that our industry can have, the growing demands for content, which just continue to exponentially get bigger worldwide. And so we're really happy to be able to have those conversations. More to come on that. And then we also have Simon Baker, who's hosting and moderating our Vancouver event, who's going to be interviewed for Business Magazine and something else, which I actually don't have it right in front of me right now, and a few other things. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We're really excited. Overall, the response is excellent. Stakeholders, partners, speakers are really just coming together for this. And it just shows how much momentum is building in the industry, which is in no small part to Real Green and Creative BC and MPIA, who are our presenting partners. So maybe, I don't know if I would hand it back to you, Smiely, or if you do a question and answer, if you'd like people to be able to ask me questions.
I did it. I'm on mute. Thank you for sharing all that. And Shelby did link the SPF programming and registration link in the chat, so you can check it out. So it is virtual if you're not local to Vancouver. But yeah, did anyone have any questions? We have a panel that Real Green is presenting that I'm very excited about. We just recorded on climate storytelling, intergenerational responsibility and accountability in the climate movement and film. So looking forward to that. But if there's no more questions, we can move on. And so thank you for coming, Melanie. You're totally welcome to stay, or I know you have so much on the go, so I'll leave it to you. And I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so now we wanted to go into our new, it's not new. So Clean Energy Committee's been around, but if you have not seen, we have a new branding for clean energy, as well as some of the other initiatives. So you'll start to see this blue now pop up whenever there's any clean energy initiatives or toolkits or anything. And I want to introduce our lovely new co-chair of the Clean Energy Committee, Peter Klassen, who will provide an update on what's happening here in BC. If you're there.
Thanks, Smiely. Yeah, so lots going on. We recently launched the Power Tie-ins program, which is providing seed money of up to $2,500 per application for a variety of groups, local governments, Indigenous governments, not-for-profits, and other industry partners to apply to start getting the ball rolling to get grid power tie-ins created on their properties or parking lots or whatever it may be, to be getting the business case sorted out, to the preliminary engineering and that kind of thing. The idea being that that can put in these power kiosks and in locations with high frequency filming, and to reduce the use of diesel generators. That can be combined with the funding that BC Hydro is offering which would actually build out or provide funding that to actually build out the grid tie-in. So that's really exciting. So that's sort of a two-pronged approach, and we're seeing some applicants come in. The deadline officially is the 30th of September, and we'll see what we've got then and how to move forward after that. Also, with respect to the Real Green website, we've got some new resources available. There's a clean energy buzzwords list of terminologies that a lot of film lingo doesn't make a lot of sense to people. A lot of electrical stuff doesn't make a lot of sense to people. So there's a bunch of interesting definitions and stuff there. There's also a consumption calculator, fuel consumption, and the amount of greenhouse gases that are produced by whatever excuse me, whatever you input in there. Not to mention there's some new graphics and cool stuff that can be shared on your social media or put in your signatures on your emails and stuff like that. And finally, we had our first ever battery workshop at the IATSE 891 offices a few Sundays ago. Yes, there we are. And it was in conjunction with Real Green, IATSE 891 and MBS. MBS brought out some really cool equipment and some very large battery packs, some smaller towable things, generator power, towable battery packs that can be ganged up with catering trucks or whatever. They're much smaller, but you know, provide some power, especially where diesel generators are a real problem. And they're really cool because they can come in a real variety of sizes. I mean, some of them are really huge and can be ganged up with a diesel generator, which actually saves a ton of greenhouse gases. And we had a lot of people, interesting people show up too. There's some Jenny Ops and production coordinators, a couple of grips, some locations folks. And yeah, we have plans in the pipeline to do a few more, targeting a variety of people in the business, directors of photography and camera operators, not to mention production managers and line producers. So yeah, that's what we've been doing at the Clean Energy Committee. You're muted again, Smiely.
Yeah, I know, I keep doing that. It's only been like 3 years of Zoom. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but this was, I think, a very successful first time event. And if you are interested in, you know, staying up to date for the future workshop that Peter mentioned, we are exploring even just different topics, but I think we're going to bring back the battery workshop, but one for camera department as well. Definitely stay, you can subscribe to our, I'm going to get Shelby to put that in the chat, newsletters and email distros, because we would love to see you at the next one if you are interested. Yeah, any questions about clean energy for Peter or us? I also wanted to say the consumption oh my God, this consumption calculator that we have put out. This is made for municipalities so that it can help you with the building a proposal for the power grid application funding. So something to check out and share with your local municipalities if you have, you know, anybody you're working with that you think would benefit from this, municipalities or government or stakeholders, etc. Any questions on clean energy before we move on? Awesome. So just an update on the circular economy. So we have been working hard behind the scenes. We had just our one meeting and then had to put a pin in it, but we are bringing another meeting forward in October. And currently what we are exploring is building this more central communication page and looking at Facebook groups as the place to do it in, so that we can invite industry crew and vendors and departments to be part of, and call it the Real Green Circular Marketplace, because we want to model the Facebook Marketplace sort of idea where you could share, learn, if there's, you know, materials that you need to get rid of or you're looking for. We are hoping that this is the page that people can go to if you're located in BC, or, you know, and hopefully other regions kind of model the same as well. So we have been building it, and we also have been exploring a few different initiatives, which one of them is the reusable dish program pilot, collaborating with productions, catering, and looking at vendors. So there's actually a few vendors that we have been talking with who are providing a reusable service and very keen on working within the industry. one of them is working with NOAA's production, so it's really amazing. So that's something we want to explore more of, and then also looking at more, building more of this like communication flow between studios and productions and local studios as well, to discuss storage situations and solutions for material assets, if that makes sense. So we had a really great forum, Leaders on Location forum, which I'll talk about later on, but this came up and there's amazing people that was attending in person, and I think we're going to start to see a lot more progress in the next few months for a circular economy. Yeah, any questions? Anything to add?
David's got his hand up.
I've got my hand up.
Sorry,
Thanks,
David.
Smiely. I just wanted to relay a recent situation that happened here in Toronto to everybody around circular economy. We were approached about a month before a wrap by a production that had been shooting a limited series in one of our stages. And they had, I think, 4 big sets that they offered to us to keep. But because we had a very quick turnaround with our studio, and the next production coming in didn't want any of the sets, we were scrambling to try and find a home for these. And we thought we had a solution, but at the last second it fell through. So sadly, all of these sets ended up getting thrown out. But it underscored the need for that dedicated space to be able to receive big set pieces. Keep It Green is a great start, but they can only do so much, as you know. So, I think that, but the salient point here was that the production thought, sadly, they didn't think in prep that we want to do this at the end of the show. So let's start thinking about it 4 months out. It was kind of a last second thought, but at least there was that thought of, we'd like to try and preserve these sets. So, small victories. It didn't work out, but we've got people thinking differently, which is a huge part of it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That is, I think, so important when we have these conversations, that these kind of conversations need to happen in prep, talking about your wrap plans and where things are going to go. And so, yeah, I've even being on set before Real Green, like I've seen that so much where it was a missed opportunity. And so we're trying to, through this initiative, bring both like the, studios that have all their productions happening locally here into the conversation, as well as the partners that have the space, the storage space that can, hold materials or, collaborate in that sense. And I've been seeing people are coming back and saying, like, I would love to be part of this, or I have storage, or this and that. And it's about, how do we get that ball rolling? And so hopefully, we have more to update soon on this, and hoping that, Facebook group is sort of a first start to starting this conversation. So it's more like just how we normally use Facebook Marketplace, but for the industry. But yeah, thank you for sharing. And if there's any other like ideas you have for circular economy that you want to share, you want to be part of, please send us an email, because we'd love to have everyone's input and collaboration in this, as it is so new. And then, oh, look at that. That was Shelby. I didn't know the slide was here. Amazing. So this is already up, right, Shelby?
Yeah, I'm going to link the Real Green Facebook, and then
Awesome.
Within that, I'll link the marketplace page as well.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, we've been going very, very quickly with so many initiatives. I didn't even realize this was up, so you can all be the first ones to join. It looks like there's only one member. It's probably Shelby. So yeah, please join.
It's Real Green is the member.
Okay. Yeah, please join and please share. Let your crews, your departments, contacts know that this is existing, and then we want to get your input on how can we make it better and also, yeah. And then I'm going to pass it over to my friend Julie.
Thank you. So I'll talk a little bit about the National Real Green Committee that came about January in 2021. And it sort of came out from, I guess, the need to bring this national. Real Green is, of course, we kind of led into this, and then we joined with Ontario Creates, which is also one of the biggest jurisdictions in Canada. So we thought it made sense for us to co-chair, the wonderful Chris Dunn over there, and I. So anyway, we started out with a pretty strong group, even from the first meeting. We had all of the provincial film commissions there. We had CMPA, which is the Producers Association. We had the national unions, which is, even NABIT, UBCP, ACTRA, and the DGC National. And we had IATSE National as well, because they have a green committee that the wonderful Keith Woods was part of that. We have the funding agencies, Canadian Media Fund, Telefilm, CBC, big champions out there right now. And I think it was really great that we could sort of help them understand the importance of taking this national and encouraging them to implement into their own jurisdictions. And a lot of them have definitely, taken some strides to do that, which is great, but we're there to be able to support them, which is great. So 30 attendees in the last meeting, which was in July, mid-July. We'll have our next meeting next month, and that'll be our 8th one. And we're going to focus on clean energy. So that's going to be really exciting. So I've already asked Jeff Tioli to be able to speak about what they're doing in the City of Vancouver. They're just about to launch their new kiosks. And so that's pretty exciting that City of Vancouver is moving forward with that. Obviously Toronto just launched their kiosks modeled on ours, which is great because that's part of collaboration. You don't have to recreate the wheel, so we can all learn from each other. All the different provinces gave their updates. And I'm going to share with you Lisa Supa, which is our wonderful colleague over at Telefilm. She gave a presentation on eco-responsibility action plan. So I've just got it here. I'm just going to
in the chat. Oh, amazing. I think you muted yourself, Julie.
How did I do that? Anyway, I've just shared it with you, so please open it up, because not only they gave an amazing overview on where they're heading at Telefilm, which are kind of the biggest funding agency in Canada, but they will eventually be mandating any project that they're funding. They'll be mandating them to start doing best practices and measuring their footprints, which is really exciting for us because CBC is already doing it. So, one step at a time. So in that, they also just launched a survey of, I think they interviewed 407 people in the industry. It's an eco-awareness survey, and they wanted to find out what interest in for implementation of sustainable green production practices there was in the industry. So they've just shared that out. So please check it out so you understand more about what we're doing nationally. And that's it for me. Thanks,
Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Lots of work being done across coast to coast. Whoops, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Noah. Noah, there you are. Noah's been doing incredible work. I just want to start off by saying that we pulled this image from a case study that Disney published on Prom Pact, which was Noah's last show, and now you're on a new show, creating even more change. Did you want me to keep this side up or stop sharing?
I actually did throw together a quick PowerPoint just with some pictures, because I feel like it's hard to just kind of talk without, having examples. So give me one sec to share my screen.
No worries. And do you want to tell everyone what show you're on?
So right now I'm currently on Prom Pact, and that is sorry, not Prom Pact. That was the original one. Currently I am on Career Opportunities in Murder and Mayhem. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to share the screen.
Oh, do I have to like, do you have an option to?
I think it's on my end. I don't know if it's working for you guys, unfortunately.
Here, I'll make you a co-host.
To work around.
Sorry.
And feel free to, let me know at any time if you guys have questions or comments. So the big one obviously is waste. Everyone knows that, especially with COVID, there was a big step back, in my opinion, with the return to single-use items. And so with the increase, obviously, in the volume of waste that we're generating, there has to be follow through with both the productions and vendors to ensure that the processes in place are being followed through at every level. And so one of the things that we really emphasized early on in prep for our production is making sure that we have sustainable vendors that are really vetted and we know are going to conform to our policies. There's already been mention of Keep It Green Recycling and Kelsey, who does a fantastic job. And you can see there on the left, some of our various waste stream bins there in the production office. And then over on the right is something that has become more popular and I think will continue to, and that is reporting from vendors. And so that's an example of one of our waste diversion reports for our construction department that we get generated by our vendors. And so that's just another way for us to provide really tangible data to the rest of the crew and the rest of production that our practices and our policies are really working. In my personal experience, I find a lot of the uphill battles come when addressing things with people who have a lot more of an analytical mindset that talk money. And so being able to say, for example, like at the point this report was generated, that we've diverted nearly 60% of our, or 65% of our construction waste from the landfill, to them, that's a lot easier to process than just bin numbers and whatnot. Another big example of the waste management is water. There's an example on the left of some of the diversion numbers that we've been able to succeed in so far. And again, that's just requiring a little bit of collaboration. And again, with COVID, this is a very sensitive topic for lots of productions. So one that we really wanted to make sure that we put a pin on early. And so obviously when working on location, various locations jumping around, it's not necessarily feasible to have water stations for every department. And so we've had to kind of bridge that gap with aluminum water bottles there at the bottom for our cask. And then at the top, we have plastic bottles, which obviously not the best solution. But again, this is just another example of working with vendors. This is a local company called Ice River Water, and they're bottled here in BC. So you're not paying for the large transportation costs. And a very, very cool thing about them is they are actually 100% recycled plastic. So they purchase all of their source plastic directly from local municipalities. So while it isn't an ideal option, it's definitely one with a reduced footprint. And so that's essentially what we've really tried to focus on working with our vendors from the beginning, is making sure that if we can't satisfy the most ideal option, then making sure that we at least have a second option. One of the programs that we're super, super proud of is our reusables program. So we have actually managed to eliminate takeout food containers in both our shoot crew and production office. And so we've been working with a company called Reusables. And as a result, we've managed to essentially eliminate the use of single-use items on our set, obviously with the asterisk of those plastic bottles. So the crew come to catering or crafty or anywhere they're served food, and they're served in those metal dishes on the right. Again, those are coupled with reusable, refillable water stations and actually being served physically by catering. And so as a result, we've actually managed to avoid the use of over 15,000 disposable food containers, which is no small number in of itself, but even larger than that, which is kind of a sticking point for me, is that that's equivalent to over 4.5 metric tons of CO2 and just under 1.8 tons of waste from the landfill. So it's starting to really, really add up when you start to factor in the enhanced travel and transportation costs. They're also a very, very participatory vendor and members of the community. They were also there at the industry sustainability forum there on the weekend. So if you guys have the opportunity to work with them, I really, really, really recommend it. And then continuing the trend of clean energy, as everyone's talked about, we have also been using the Real Green Clean Energy Grid Access Map. That's kind of a screenshot of what it looks like for our production so far. Those are some of the stations that we've considered. And we've actually been able to use that in concert with the MBS electric generator you see up in the top corner, and a pilot program with Suncor to drastically reduce our energy emission footprint on the production as a whole. Like it was mentioned earlier, the City of Vancouver has a lot of clean energy incentives, the clean energy incentive being one. And through the use of our UPS generator, we've actually been able to slash our location fees by 50% a day. Now we are primarily a studio-based production, but with the amount of days that we have had on location, I believe the current count is over $5,000 in discounts on our location permit fees at $1,300 a day slash and half. So again, that's something that really, really adds up. And when presenting these types of initiatives to, say, a production manager or producer, being able to give them any sort of tangible number, it definitely works in your favor. Now, apart from the financial side of that, again, obviously we're talking here about environmental impacts. Through the alternate energy sources that we've been able to use, we've completely managed to avoid the use of just under 6,000 gallons of fossil fuels. I'll be honest, I don't know that in liters, but it's still a fair amount. And that contributes basically 62 metric tons of CO2. So yet again, there's another sizable chunk of carbon emission that we've been able to reduce and pull straight out of, not straight out of the air, but we've been able to alleviate. Additional to that, the MBS electric generator has accounted for roughly 2%. So that's just under 1.5 tons. Suncor, for those of you who aren't super familiar, is a division of Petro-Canada, and they have recently begun running out a renewable biodiesel program. So for productions within the Lower Mainland, they offer, it's called B100, which is a hydro-treated renewable diesel. That's generated entirely from renewable sources. So food waste, veggie oil, animal fats, leftover animal feed from farms. And it results in a very high quality, low carbon intensity diesel as when compared to conventional. And so we've actually installed a tank of this, as you see in the bottom corner, on our production site. And as a result, we are fueling all of our transport trucks, our generators, anything that runs on diesel is fueled directly on site from that tank. And so as a result, we've actually found, and Suncor has released documentation supporting this, that this has resulted in 84% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions when compared to conventional diesel. And for those of you who are more interested in the technical side of it, it does burn a lot cleaner. It has a minimum cetane level of 70 versus 40. So you're not only finding reduced emissions, but you're also finding increased output and a cleaner running engine. So it's going to be running for a lot longer. Now, this is kind of my personal favorite side of the initiatives we're doing. And that has been seeing the kind of rise in crew participation. Now, what I alluded to at the beginning, which I'm sure many of you can agree with, many people often will come up to me on set or in the office kind of saying, you know, we're doing all this stuff, but what actually happens? And so by implementing these programs early on, we've really found that people have bought into it and are coming up constantly with suggestions and ideas. We've also tried to implement programs that might not necessarily have the biggest analytic impact, but again, facilitates people's participation. So an example of that there on the left is our microgreens farm. And so we actually had that installed in our cafeteria in the production office. And so as you can see there, for those of you who don't know, microgreens are miniature versions of lots of vegetables and sprouts and whatnot that you'll use in everyday cooking and whatnot. And those are used almost every day by our catering and craft services team. And the yield isn't the largest, but they're used consistently in salads, as garnishes, and sandwiches. And they do have a really, really high nutritional value. So that's one of those things where, again, the crew is constantly coming in and saying, hey, can I get in on the watering schedule? When's the next crop going to be ready? When's the next batch? Can we plant this and plant so forth? And it's really caused people, even day calls, to come in and say, you know, I heard about these programs. How can I get involved? And I think that is genuinely where we're having the most success, in that the entire crew is now participating and actively getting involved and seeking out ways to get involved. Whereas I think in the past, it's definitely been the sustainability department doing their own thing and everyone else having to play by the rules. So I think if that kind of sense of community can really be fostered, then that's where productions of kind of any size will have a lot more success, because a lot of what we do is dependent on other people playing ball. And then finally, we do a fair bit of reporting as a Disney Plus production. So on the left are kind of an example of some of the more positive numbers we like to provide to the cast and crew, and just remind people that, you know, what we are doing is making a difference. And then there on the right is some of the, I don't want to say negative numbers, but those are some of the more shock value numbers that we do like to share, where it does provide people with a benchmark of, you know, this is what your current practices are. And we find that it provides people with a lot clearer context to as to why we're doing what we're doing. And that's all for me. Thank you so much for kind of listening to my ramble, everyone. I just wanted to share with you what we're able to do here on Murder and Mayhem. If you guys have any ideas or questions or comments, this is my information. I'm always available. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Noah. This is incredible. Every time, I think it's the second time Noah's presented at a general meeting, and it's just like even more incredible than the last. So congratulations on everything you have been like achieving and accomplishing. And I'm sure this is so inspiring to anyone that's listening or learning about what you've done. But yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or email Noah directly. And thank you. So I realized we are almost at 2:30, but sometimes we schedule this meeting, like sometimes it ends by like in an hour, but we usually go till an hour and a half. So if you do have to leave at 2:30, I understand, but we do have a couple more presentations. So if you want, please stick around. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to Fraser, who I see has joined the call from Portable Electric. They're our amazing Real Green vendor and partner, and I think they're going to share about what they've been up to. Oh, oh, there you are, Fraser. Sorry, the screen just shifted.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, awesome, great. Yeah, I'll pull up a couple of slides here, and I recognize quite a few names, so try to keep it focused on what we've been doing lately at Portable. Been around quite a number of years now, based in Vancouver, but we ship and sell similar to what Noah was talking about with the battery powered generators or e-generators or lithium ion batteries on film sets. And yeah, we ship them all over the world out of East Vancouver here. I think we're in 14 countries now, which is pretty amazing, predominantly in film, and been doing a lot of great work with Real Green, of course, and then Albert out in the UK and everybody's support just around sustainability and new technology adoption, I would say. I've been with Portable for a while, and this year, especially, just the conversation around battery technology has really changed. Like, I was in New York last week, and people, and I mean, it's totally separate from just like one vendor like Portable, but just the battery space in general. People are actively asking rental houses for battery equipment and how they can reduce their generator use on set, and whether it's hybridized or fully replace them with battery technology. So it's really amazing to see, and I think it's a real testament to the community that's really pushing it. So Noah, I definitely echo your sentiments just around crew participation and people being really interested and wanting to, you know, try new technology and kind of change behavior on set. So it's been something that we've certainly noticed that's been really great. At Portable, we work with a lot of different studios and rental houses in Canada with MBS and Scintillates, and then also in the US and elsewhere with independents and studios. I think we announced today we have a new vendor out of Halifax on the East Coast. They just got one of our larger 30K units and a bunch of other units for film there, but also live events. And we've been slowly adding logos as we go here over the years. I think an interesting one that's come up is all around EV charging on set. Netflix has been particularly interested in that because our units can be level 3 chargers. So it's kind of like a pop-up EV charging off-grid solution for anybody that shows up to set that has an electric vehicle, and it's not great optics to plug a generator into an electric vehicle. So people have found that using batteries and recharging them overnight or every few days has been a good use case on set. And then we've been developing the reporting mechanisms that Noah was talking about with Disney, and also with a couple of other studios, just kind of integrating real data so they can track on a daily basis energy usage over time, fuel savings, if they have solar deployed, how much solar power did they generate over the production or over the rental period. So that's been something that's developing. It's something that we do, and we're just really trying to understand more about. So if anybody has any tips or things that we should check out, definitely shoot me a message, because it's something that we think is important in the future to prove out new technology and to help the studios reduce their emissions and really report on it. So we're constantly developing that as we go here. And then a few case studies you can check out. I think all of these are on our website, but I figured I'd just highlight them because it's just highlighting the good work that our customers do, like rental houses, and then also the crews themselves on how they're using this type of equipment on set, whether it's for set construction, COVID wash stations. There's for Bond, I think they used it for quite a number of gunfights, just for like flash type of scenarios on a beach where they actually couldn't have a generator. And Albert picked up a case study on that. I think we're having another one. They're writing it right now, so I couldn't share it today, but it's coming out on Albert for a Netflix show that was shot in London. So that should be coming out in the next couple of months. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. Again, just 5K units that they're using on set, and just how they're using it. Another one was in LA. We did 2 in LA that were pretty interesting because they either completely replaced the generator with the 30K, and then they just recharged it once a week because it's just set construction. So they didn't use the full amount of battery power or capacity, the 80 kilowatt hours that we had in there. And you could see it over time, because it was like a 3 or 4 month rental, where the first week they used all the energy in the first couple of days, but then over time they were able to really extend it, and they were lucky enough to have a grid connection decently far away, so they just plugged it in over the weekend and then used it for the entire week. So that was something that really saved them on generator rental for 50 kilowatt, and also the fuel savings on that. And then similarly, something that we released this year is a hybrid connection. What we found with battery technology, at least for ours, crews like them, but there's always the scenario of, where do I recharge it and how do I recharge it? In Vancouver, it's great because of the power kiosks. It's a direct connection. There's lots of them out there, and you can quickly recharge them in 3.5 hours, 4 hours for the 30K. But if you're in remote areas, like we have a rental house in Kelowna or somewhere else in BC, it's a bit more challenging. So we've done a few case studies now with some of the studios on, like, if we hybridize it with a generator and it can auto turn on and off a generator if it's getting low, and then when it gets to 100%, it can turn off, very similar to like a hybrid car. How much fuel savings are you really getting out of that? And in some instances, especially around like catering equipment, or some of the auxiliary things like camera trucks and stuff like that around base camp and everything, it can be significant fuel savings. Like on one production here is 84%, where the battery just caught a lot of the low loads and kept everything very efficient. The generator would turn on once a week, recharge it, and then turn off. So there's definitely a lot of gains to be had on not just battery technology, but battery and generator use. And that's just something that we're continually building and working towards. I'm happy to answer any more questions on that, but I just wanted to give you a highlight of kind of a couple of things that are new for us and that we're working towards in the next year.
Thank you so much, Fraser. That was very, very insightful and informative. Just quick, anybody have any questions? So I did talk with the portable electric team just recently, and I think we're going to start exploring some more collaborations. I think one of them may be some kind of involvement with the clean energy battery workshop, and a lot more initiatives I think are in the books for Real Green and Portable Electric, because it's our missions are aligned, and we want to start getting some more of these amazing case studies and reports in Canada as well, especially BC, but Canadian reports as we need more of those. So thank you so much for your time, Fraser. Do you have an email or something you want to leave behind if anyone?
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat here so you can see that, and also throw the links to our case studies there. Thanks for posting our website too. That's great.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Great. Any questions before we move on? Appreciate you all sticking around as well. I wasn't sure what I put for the time on the on our registration, but thank you for being here. So I'm just gonna quickly go on to and Fraser, feel free to stick around, but if you have to go, thank you for coming. So I just wanted to do a quick event recap, because Real Green has been part of, and it's going to be part of lots of events this fall. It's a busy time. We just wrapped the Leaders on Location Forum for Sustainability this past weekend. It was something we were planning for about 5 months or so with the planning committee, presented by, as you see, DGC, LMGI, MPCI, and Real Green. And this forum, which is primarily for municipalities and location managers, but anybody in the industry can come and learn. This year we focused on sustainability, which why we were there as Real Green, but it was just such a grand opportunity for us to showcase our leadership. And one of those were our green vendors. So we had a few booths there with these, as you can see, some amazing people leading the game in Vancouver and around. One of those I'm sure you recognize from Noah's presentation was Reusables, who also provided their containers for our lunch. We had Earth Water, we had Hertz, who had a Tesla display. Driving Force was there as well, and on stage cleaning. So it was a very successful event, and we had a reception with awards, and already looking forward to the next one. So if you missed this, there's more events coming up. From earlier when I was talking about how much work we've been doing, not just nationally, but internationally, Marnie G, the BC Film Commissioner, who is not on this call today, is actually in Bogota in Colombia for a panel as part of their Cinemposium, presented by AFCI, which is the Associations of Film Commissions International. And Marnie and Hans Dale, who is the production manager on Noah's show that he presented on, and then Lisa Day at Disney, were sitting on a panel just yesterday talking about eco-friendly productions and what other jurisdictions can be doing to lead sustainability in your region. So these pictures just came in hot, fresh off the press, and it's really, really exciting because now we're starting to expand our network and our work across the oceans. So this is something we just wanted to share. And we also have a panel coming up at the Vancouver International Film Festival. It's an industry talk presented by Real Green called The Filmmaker's Influence in the Time of Climate Change. So we invite you all, if you'd like to attend, you do buy tickets, but just send me an email. I think I can just get you in. It's gonna be in person at the Van City Theater at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday, October 1st. So next Saturday, I think, if I get that correct. So please send me a message if you'd like to come. We'd love to see you there. We are, it's gonna be an incredible chat with some amazing filmmakers, some of who will have films in the festival, to talk about our influence as storytellers and, you know, industry members and what we could be doing to influence these themes and practices. So that's coming up. And yeah, any questions at all? Shelby's coming through with all the links, so you have them. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to introduce the lovely Chris Jenkins from NERV Productions, who just, you know, produced this documentary called The Soul of the Fraser. And Chris, I'm going to pass it to you. Did you want?
Hi. Thanks, Smiely. My name is Chris. I am a documentary storyteller based in Vancouver, BC. And I wanted to change our focus for a minute and talk about the importance of climate storytelling. Because I think we all know, working in the film industry, it is a industry that doesn't have the cleanest track record, especially when it comes to climate conscious decisions. But also we need, and while we need to change our practices in film production, I think it's also very important that we focus on telling stories that we're presenting to our communities and audiences that have a climate focus. So I believe documentaries are a great way to do this, but also fiction stories are a great way to do this. I think that by elevating these kinds of stories, not only do we have change within our industry, but we will also change the perspectives of our audience. And this is a global effort, and media does have such a powerful influence in this day. So I really appreciate Smiely giving me the opportunity to do this. Furthermore, Real Green is supporting the documentary. On October 19th, we will have a screening at Science World. And it'd be really amazing if we could have industry leaders come out and view the film and see that a story can be told about the environment. However, at the end of the day, it's all about people, because we are so closely intertwined with this environment that surrounds us. So I'll keep it brief. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. And I will just leave you with the final messages. As unions, as rental houses, as studios, I really encourage you to support climate storytellers, because it's just as important to tell climate conscious stories as it is to tell or to ensure that they're done in a clean fashion. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. No, I love that. And then also, just before you end, I want to ask if you could share maybe like in 1 or 2 sentences what your documentary is about, because this is the, as Chris was mentioning, we are organizing a screening of this documentary at Science World on October 19th. And we are just working quickly to get the registration page up so that, you know, we could share it with the community. But yeah, I would love if you could just share a little bit about what the documentary is about.
Absolutely. So the title of the documentary is called The Soul of the Fraser. This is a film that changed a lot over time. At first, it started as an environmental story about the lands and waterways from UBC to Point Roberts and here in Vancouver. However, as we explored the environment more, we were introduced to a rich culture and a rich history. And we were so lucky to be welcomed in by the Musqueam Nation as they told us a long, complex, and beautiful history of people and the environment here. So the film follows many different stories, including those of history and current threats facing the environments here in Vancouver. And it also explores just how much the average citizen knows about the environments in this area. Vancouver is regarded as the greenest city, but are we? So these are some of the topics that are explored in the documentary, and I hope it has just as much an effect on your perspective as it had on me while making it, because it's something I truly learned making this project is the humans and the environment are so closely related. And yeah, I would love if everyone came and saw it.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we will, again, put that on our social media, newsletters, etc. once we have that registration page up and published. But yeah, we would love to see you there. We're organizing a panel alongside the film. So just gonna have a great conversation and hopefully a lot of key takeaways. And it's gonna be one of Real Green's first screenings. We're hoping to make like sort of a series out of it, featuring BC filmmakers talking about climate, making it more regular thing. So we're excited to have Chris and his team as our first team. And yeah, I would recommend checking out the trailer. I linked it in the chat for everyone to check out. And yeah, that's it. I'm even looking at my PowerPoint. I don't have much more to share on my end. So I just wanted to open up if anyone has questions for Chris or anyone else that's spoken today, or just want to share about what you've been up to. I see a few new people joined, like Cody and Priscilla, and did anyone else just join? Julie Stangman there, who joined after the introduction. So yeah, open floor. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, what's happening. What are you looking forward to?
I guess we'll be launching sharewares with the Kits BIA in Kitsilano, or the Kits Broadway BIA, in partnership with them, and Skip the Dishes for reusable takeout containers in that area. And hopefully that'll spark the interest of Ryan Reynolds, who we just submitted a proposal to on this kind of volunteer-based side project where we're trying to get him to be the champion of sustainability in Vancouver, to set off a viral effect, a network effect through a bunch of micro-influencers, and this behavioral change plan strategy that we're working on with a bunch of behavioral change doctors and advisors. So there's a lot of cool things going on in Vancouver. So hopefully it will be the greenest city in the world.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. And I saw you won an award too, a sustainability award. So congratulations.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, the Downtown BIA, we're partnered with them, and so all of our work with like Tim Hortons and Battery Energy Club, and getting their reusable cup program on board got us that. So yeah, it's great.
Amazing. Yeah, and thanks for tuning in as well. David, did you have any updates? What are you up to?
I was actually just out in our warehouse looking at some of our new hybrid units, similar to what, oh my God. Sorry, what was the gentleman from Portable?
Fraser.
Sorry, Fraser. Please don't tell Mark that I forgot your name. We've got hybrid units that will couple a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack with a tier 4 800 amp generator. So akin to what Fraser was saying, we'll have significant fuel reduction, significant reduction in runtime of a diesel generator. We haven't put synthetic diesel into our Jennies yet, but will. So I mean, you know, we're well on the way to versatile mobile power that is zero emission that can also support set. I think there's still a reticence to put batteries on set supporting the lighting. That will change if it hasn't already. I mean, I know on a smaller level it's changing. On some of the bigger shows, the lighting teams are still somewhat suspect of the capability, but give it another few months and I think people will start to change. So anyway, we've got a bunch of new equipment coming into our inventory shortly. And one of the things that's been really interesting for us lately is that our parent company, Sunbelt Rentals, has been supporting production at a corporate level, working with Apple, Amazon, Netflix, primarily in the UK, building out a capability to multi-purpose some of their heretofore kind of more construction and industrial sized batteries and ESS, as they call them, energy storage systems, which are hybrid, but utilizing those to help production across the pond reduce its carbon footprint. So lots going on, but most importantly for me is, and sorry to drag on, but our company is reports. It's a publicly traded company that has a published ESG report. It has pretty not strong enough for my liking yet, but that they're changing requirements for us to capture, benchmark, report, monitor, reduce our footprint across our fairly broad platform. So we're our fuel data, our utility, our scope 1, 2, and scope 3 emissions are stuff that we're really looking at very carefully.
That's incredible. And you know what, that reminded me of another report that SPA just put out, the Sustainable Production Alliance, on a regional analysis for carbon emissions. So I just linked that in the chat. But thanks, David. Thanks for all those great updates, as always. Anyone else? Alex, did you want to share anything?
Sorry there. I was eating my lunch while I was listening to all you guys, and I didn't think you needed to see that.
I called you out.
I don't know what Steve has already shared with you all, but something that's really cool that we're working on, a pretty big streaming platform, which I can't name just yet, is doing an overall deal with us so that all of their productions will be working paperlessly.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so hopefully once we have that out, more productions will be doing that.
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, so if anyone hasn't heard of Scriptation, definitely check them out. I think now in this COVID world, it's hard not to go paperless. It's just the way to go, and it's green. So yeah, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I look forward to hearing more about that. Anybody else?
I was just going to say, David, that we're all excited to go tomorrow to see the LED big studio over. I guess that's the one that Airbender was in. So we're going as a film commission field trip. So
yeah, and just so in case people aren't aware, Canada Motion Picture Park is home to the world's largest virtual production LED volume. I mean, it is the largest now. I think there's one being built in the UK, but I haven't personally been there yet. I've seen our volumes here in Toronto, and they're pretty spectacular at a fraction of the size. So I can only imagine what 3,500 panels looks like in a big studio. It's massive, and it's pretty impressive. And what we're trying to do here is to build out use cases that are that work for production at all levels, and we kind of remove the stigma that virtual production is only for the big studio shows. There are obviously all sorts of potential savings, carbon emission savings in lots of ways. There are also some additional carbon being added if we can't get rid of generators powering the virtual production volumes that happens in some areas. But no, it's open. I'm not sure, Julie, you can better explain. I think I'm not sure if it's just a show up for a tour or if you have to book ahead.
They're organized, yeah. They offered 3 times a day.
I should probably know this. Shouldn't I?
No, well, no, you guys sent it out, which is amazing. So I jumped on for the team and said, come on, let's all go. So I think it's been 20th. So that was yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So there's 3 times a day. So we're going for the 2 p.m. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, I just linked, I just found something online about the stages, but if anyone on the call is interested, send one of us an email, we can share that. It's just an Eventbrite, but I will have to dig through my emails to find it. I think it's just this week, but I'm sure they will be happy to organize a tour if you want to go any other time. Yeah, it's exciting things. I'm looking forward to that as well. Virtual production at the Leaders on Location Forum we just had over the weekend. We had a panel focused on virtual production and just how, more and more productions are starting to go towards that route, and the sustainability reports coming out of it is something we're looking forward to, and all the good stuff. But yeah, anyways, if there isn't anything else to add, thank you so much for sticking through the hour and a half with us and sharing your input and being here and for all the work you're doing. Please don't be strangers and stay in touch. Let me know what you've been up to or what you're working on. If you need anything in terms of support or sharing, we love to share what our friends and partners are doing in the industry through our channels. So just let me know. And have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much. I'll give you five minutes of your time back.
Thanks, Smiley. It's
Thanks,
great
Smiley.
to see everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Smiley.
Hey,
Great to
everybody.
meet all of you.